Got it. Good afternoon, you guys. Welcome to Spilling It. We got Rachel.
Hello.
Again. We're trying to make this like a monthly thing.
Yeah, we just have too many stories.
We have so many stories. Speaking of a recent story, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should.
Yes.
But we were at Taco Bell and I had a new embarrassing moment.
Oh my gosh. I was just happy to be there.
Yeah. I wish we got a photo of it, really, honestly.
I know, but the way you pulled it out of your pants,
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I literally like that. So we were at Taco Bell and we both were like, well, I got to go to the bathroom first because we went and saw Insidious. Apparently there's 5 Insidious movies.
Blew my mind.
I know. I thought there was like 3.
Well, we thought this was the 4th. So when you
Yes,
said.
I thought there was 3 previous.
Yeah.
And then, no, there's 5.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize the Lost Key or whatever was part of that.
Yeah.
Or the skeleton
I just
key?
need to
Whatever, I
rewatch
don't
them
know.
all because, man,
Yeah.
I was lost. Thank God you and
You were.
Austin had a touch up.
I know. But anyway, so we were at Taco Bell and we went to the bathroom and I came out. This girl like taps my shoulder who was working there and goes, "You have toilet paper coming out of your pants."
But mind you, we have been like placing our order for a few minutes.
I was almost done with my order and I don't know what it is about the Taco Bell ones, but it like confuses me every time I order from there.
Yeah.
I'm like, did I do Supreme? Did I do the right meat?
There's
Like,
just so many options to be like, no cheese, this, that. So
Yes.
you're like,
I'm like, did I do it right? So and also when you're ordering, the way that this Taco Bell is set up, that you're ordering, your back is facing everybody who's working there.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like this, like, pew, 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 toilet paper, like, and it was like long. When I took it out, I was like Jesus
a
Christ,
solid
she's right.
4 squares.
Yeah, I literally was like, she like tapped me like, excuse me, and I was like, yes. She was so nice.
She was mortified to even tell you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
She
wanted
kept saying sorry. I was like, no, thank you. Thank
seriously.
you.
Like I'm like, don't let people walk around looking like
No.
that. I would totally be the person to be like,
Excuse me. It's awkward to tell somebody that, but also I'm like, I could have been walking around for so long with toilet paper hanging on my pants. I had no idea.
right.
And it was, I mean, this is not the first time it's happened either. So I don't know why. It happened at the
I feel
Y.
like it's happened to the best of us. Like
I
how it
know.
happens, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
But I
must
know
just-
it's definitely happened to me before. But I don't know if like anybody's ever like.
I really
saw
don't
it.
know how. Well, it happened to me at the Y one time. I had leggings on.
Oh.
And I almost walked out and was like,
I get like extra paranoid sometimes where I'm like, okay, no,
Yeah.
it's fine.
yeah. Also at the Y was another embarrassing moment when this guy from the Y walked in on me and us. I was actually on the toilet.
Yeah, I was like at the sink, like
We're,
fixing
like,
my hair.
All of a sudden, he literally straight up just walked in and we didn't lock the door. Obviously, I think it's hard because we just assume I think we
Well,
both
I feel
assumed.
like I was like, well, you were last in.
Yeah, like we assumed somebody locked it.
Yeah.
And like it was neither of us. So he just full on, and I was sitting there like,
Poor guy immediately puts his head down and like turned around and walked out.
and we see him every time we go to the Y. And then he apologized too, like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, don't apologize.
Yeah, that was our fault.
our bad. He was embarrassed also. You know, it just happens, but I could not get over it. I just was like, kept laughing about it.
We laughed until we cried for like an hour.
hour.
Like we just kept thinking about it. Like, oh my God, that was so funny.
I went to look in the garbage after I was done because I was like, how long was that toilet paper? I was like, nope, yep, it was pretty long. It was just, I
Yeah,
just
when
threw
you
it away.
reposted it on your story, I was like, yeah, no, that's like legitimately what the length was.
Yeah, because I showed Ethan. I was like, Ethan, this is how much toilet paper was coming out of my pants. He's like, no way. I'm like, dead ass. Like a long toilet paper. So anyways, it was hilarious. And yeah, that was our new embarrassing moment.
For you.
And for me,
Yeah.
not for you. It was embarrassing when the guy walked in and, you know, we both were like,
Yeah.
hi. So anyway, I asked on Instagram like questions and stuff, and there's a lot. How many years have we been friends? Like, I really am like,
I feel like we were so young that honestly we're not even really quite sure.
right. I was like, I really
Like,
don't even remember.
I'm
the
like, I
age.
feel like my mom said maybe we started going to that church when I was like 7.
yeah,
So basically grade school, it's been over 25 years
yeah.
for sure.
Poppy, you're so cute.
I mean, we're like coming up on 30 years of friendship.
Well, I know that's what I was thinking. I
That's
just turned
wild.
36.
Yeah.
So that means
We're real close to 30.
really long time. So we've been through literally every phase of life
Yeah.
together. And so we have a lot. One of the questions was, are your kids good friends? They are.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
Even like Nevaeh, like she's obviously a lot older than my girls, but
Yeah.
she like does their hair and their makeup, and they will both tell you that Nevaeh is their best friend.
Yep.
Which Hal's 6, and she's like, I'm like, who's your best friend? Nevaeh. Like they like love her.
Yeah.
And she's the sweetest.
And Gray is Jada's age. And so like we specifically got pregnant together,
Yeah.
and we were hoping, I was really hoping, like secretly I was hoping it was a boy, but then also like I knew
How
you were having
wild
a
would it
girl.
be if we had girls that were a month
I know.
apart?
The same age.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No.
Because Grayson and Jada, they're like, they are so close that it's like their brother and sister.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, hey, Jada.
Yeah, they
Okay.
literally act more like brother and sister than like best friends, honestly. But
yeah. But then Nevaeh is like, she'll babysit the girls and they love it.
oh yeah.
They love it. Okay, I love this question. There's a lot of good questions, by the way. It says, how are you most alike and how are you most different?
Oh yeah, that's a
And-
good question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are alike in a lot of ways, but we are also very different.
Totally.
Very different. So Rachel's a lot like Ethan in
Mhm.
she's very organized, very like you have to have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah, I like things to be particular. Like
Yeah.
things that are off center would drive me nuts too. Like
Yes. By the way, this table, I was like,
she pulled it towards her. I was like, it's not going to be centered in the frame anymore.
it's crooked. Ethan's like, it is crooked. I'm like, is that going to bother you? But yeah, you're definitely more, and you like are such a planner. I am not a planner.
Oh my gosh.
I like come up
It
with a lot of
stresses-
ideas, and I will like, I always follow through, but it's like the in between of the planning part.
Or
not
yeah,
good.
or it's just like you can just on a whim like,
Yeah, I'm very, very.
well, let's go here, and I'm like, well, who's driving? Who's going? What are we doing? Where
Yeah.
are we going to eat? Like, I want to know
What
all
is
the
it ca-
things.
Oh, spontaneous. I'm super spontaneous.
yeah.
Rachel, not so much.
Yes. Like
You
I'm
have to-
always down for something, but I need to have
You
a
have to
plan
like think it
feel
through.
good.
Yeah, you would like think everything.
But I feel like
through.
you have helped me. Like you definitely like bring me
Yeah, more.
out of my comfort zone a little
Yeah.
bit, which is good.
One of the stories that we have that comes with that is Rachel like had been talking about getting a tattoo for like
Oh my
the longest time, and
Well, even before we were 18, we're like, we're gonna get best friend tattoos.
yes, and I was like, let's do it, and you're like, but what? And it's of course your first tattoo seems like there's way more thought that needs to be put into it than like I'm on my like I don't even know 27th.
But I
tattoo.
also feel like people think tattoos have to have these like crazy meanings.
Yeah.
And like some of yours don't. You're
No.
like, I just like it.
I
And it's
like
like
it.
it's like an art for your skin. Like why
Yeah.
does it have to have some like crazy meaning?
There's definitely some tattoos that I'm like, I liked it.
That's
there's-
it.
there's no
That's why
meaning.
I chose it.
I just love it.
Yeah.
Like skeleton hands. Like I'm like, I like it. I love it.
like the cow or whatever that is.
Yeah, the bull.
Skull. Yes.
Whatever that is. But yeah, Rachel was more like, I don't know what to get. Da, 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 da. And so then one day I finally just was like, I booked a tattoo and we're getting it on Wednesday. So
Yeah, I paid for it. And I was like,
paid for it. We're going to get it. You're like, oh my God. And freaked out.
yep.
And Rachel also, it takes her a really long time to like something or make a decision on something.
Yep.
Like if she changes anything, she's like, I don't like it. And then you get used to it.
I
and you
literally,
like it.
we got new carpet and I was like, I don't like it. It looks different. I literally lost sleep about it, you guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so dramatic about
Yes.
change. I don't know why.
And then you remember you painted the walls and
Immediately hated it.
I don't like it. And Josh is like,
We could like
Rachel?
get a new garbage can and I'd be like, I don't like it.
it's different. It's weird.
And you just can change things in like a second. And I'm like,
I know it stresses her out because I could be like, I want to paint this wall black. And like, if I make a decision, I'm so like that's my decision. That's it.
I wish I was more like that, honestly.
Yeah, I am very decisive, and I make plans and I come up with them really fast, and then I'm like,
But
you know-
Ethan is the same way. Like literally, Cora will be like, I think maybe I want a new car, and I shit you not, you guys. The next day they'll have a new car.
Yeah.
Like the other one's sold, traded in, cleaned, and they have a new one. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
like,
gosh.
we sold our van. I don't know. Like, and then
You didn't even tell me you were selling it. It was just like gone. That's how fast you did it.
That's how fast we do shit. But like sometimes I can't even tell. So like I'll have an idea for a long time and I can't even tell Ethan yet because I know
he
he's
jumps on it.
on it in a second. Cause like I'll tell him like, I've really been thinking like a side by side would be fun, but I don't want to like get one yet. I've just been thinking
You
about
can't
it.
plant the seed until
No.
you're ready.
Cause he'll be like, I was looking at side by sides and I found a really good
It's
deal.
so true. And then he'll convince you to like, he's such a salesman too. Like,
He is.
or
He, like-
it's like, this is the normal price and this is what we can get it for.
He can find the best deals. And then I'm like, well, I guess we
he's
have
the one
to.
who found our Jeep.
I know.
Like, oh, here's the Jeep right here. It's like right where you live. I'm like, oh my God.
It's
And
like a really good deal.
and we love it.
Yep. And he found my mom wanted a pontoon to surprise my dad. And Ethan found it. And they like bought it off Facebook. It was like a really good deal. And my dad had no idea. And Ethan just like immediately.
He really is like a guru with all that.
I
Like,
know.
He can just find stuff.
I'm like, you could make like some side hustle by like
Yeah, no
buying
lie.
stuff at like such a discounted price. Like he has bought stuff off Facebook Marketplace, like tires,
Yeah.
and then resells them for more. And I'm like, how do you even? I don't know the price of that stuff, so I would have no idea.
Heck
But
no.
dude, okay, so how are we similar? We just went on a tangent. We just.
We did.
I was like, where did we go?
just like veering off.
Yep. I feel like we think the same on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like just like life in general,
Yeah. Like how we parent.
Yeah.
Like
friendships.
right. We're both like crazy loyal, super defensive of the people we love.
Yeah.
And like,
And even like it's like we both know, like we have the same brain at this point. Like, those like reels that pop up like we're gonna talk about this when we get in the car. Like we're like that.
we just
We'll
have
be
to like look at each other and be like, like,
uh-huh.
I
Like,
yep.
did you see that? I'm like, yes, I did. What bothers me is like, I can't do that with like, it doesn't bother me, but like, I want to do that with Ethan sometimes. I'm like, did you see that? He's like, what? What is
And he
it?
makes it so obvious.
I know. I was like, shut
We'll
it.
be like, don't look right now. And he's like,
No, like right behind you, and he'll be like, I'm like, never mind. Rachel's like, we're both like very like see the same things at the exact same time, and
we
like,
just think alike.
very much,
So
but also so differently. So it's weird.
yeah.
It's hard to explain.
I know. Like, I feel like our husbands would be like, yeah, no, they're the same people. We'll like text each other the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, it weirds our husbands out.
I know. Or we'll say some things at the same time, and we're both like,
Or like show up to the Y in the same freaking outfits.
Yeah.
How many times have we done that?
I know. Somebody messaged
People
like, out of
literally
all the
don't believe us.
outfits, how did you happen to match Rachel? I'm like, I don't know.
I know,
Of all
because
the
you have
outfits-
so much more clothes than me, too.
Yeah, and we just show up the same, and we're wearing the same tennis shoes, like,
Colors.
or at least it's the same color scheme,
Yeah.
So, and that's just been years and years and years of like being friends. I feel like we were always like that though, like
Yeah.
in high school.
Well,
we'd be like-
another way we're like super different, though, is you are like, if she gets like a wrong order, she's like, I'm going up there. And I'm
Yes.
like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything.
Rachel, another Taco Bell story. We have all these Taco Bell stories.
You guys, Taco Bell's been our thing since we were kids.
Yes.
Like, we would like always go to Taco Bell together. And
It's
everyone
our
else is
thing.
like, ugh.
Ethan hates it. He gets all crabby. I'm like,
Josh is never like, let's go to Taco Bell.
Yeah,
So
no.
that's just been our guilty pleasure forever.
Ethan will be like, let's go to Wendy's. I'm
Oh
like,
my God. Josh loves Wendy's.
yeah. I'm like, why? I don't want Wendy's.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
I
but
like Frosty and fries, but yeah, we were at Taco Bell and we were ordering off the thing, and she didn't order Supreme, and she thought she did. Or is that
we
what it was?
both did.
Okay, we both, and hers wasn't Supreme. And for me, I'm like, that's a big deal. Like, there's no sour cream, there's no tomatoes.
But I was like, I technically ordered it wrong. So.
I was like, she ordered Supreme and she didn't get it. And they were like, oh, okay. And And I was like, or remember when you were getting a tattoo?
Yeah, and he wanted to like move it.
He
and I
wanted
was
it
like,
on the top of your foot. And I go, she like looks at me. I go, I don't think she wants it right there.
That's not where she wants it. He's like, what's gonna fade? She's like, it's fine.
It's fine.
Like, half the time I'll be like, Cord, I need help. Like, and she just knows.
I know. I'm just like, she doesn't like it. And she's sitting right there.
I know.
But I am definitely more like,
yeah.
I don't care. So I'll just do it. Here's another question. This came up on the podcast of me and Ethan, but it says, does Rachel have implants?
I sure don't.
Love your friendship. Rachel,
they're all me.
They're all Rachel's. You guys, Rachel, when we were younger, this is just like the greatest story. She would get made fun of for being so flat.
Totally.
And then one day, I swear to God, it was like within. So we went to the same church.
Yep.
And we saw each other every Sunday. And one Sunday, she came back and I was like, when did you get like boobs? Like it felt like in 5 days, she just randomly grew boobs. Like
it really did.
And they weren't little boobs. They just got bigger and bigger and bigger. They were huge.
I know. But that was like my sister used to be like, if I was as flat as you, I would stuff. Like mean. I was like, or I remember one time she's like, why are you even wearing a bra? And then all of a sudden it was like,
you're like
big ol' honkers.
Big ol' honkers. Yes.
I remember my friends were like, one summer, you just like 9th grade, it was like you went and 10th grade you came back and you had like boobs.
Boobs, like big boobs. And they like literally looked like implants.
They were nice before I had children.
What was your size like wise? Like
I feel like by my senior year I was like a D.
A D, yeah.
But they weren't, They were nice because they didn't have children.
Yes, yeah. And then you have kids and then
you breastfeed and it's like, meh.
There they go. But they're definitely, she's got big boobs. I am like a D now.
Yep.
And so what do you think of my implants?
They're nice.
She's like, okay, when I got them, she's like, she doesn't like change. She's like, I don't know. It's going to be so weird to see you with boobs.
But I also, like, as kids, I remember she had braces forever. And I was like, I don't want you to get your braces off.
I know.
Or when you were going to get braces, I was like, I'm going to miss your gap. Because she had a gap in her teeth.
My front teeth had a big gap. And I was like, ugh, I'm not going to miss it.
But that, like, was, like, what made you court to me. Obviously, it just takes me a second.
Yeah.
So I was never like against her getting boobs. It was just like, oh my God, it's going to be weird.
It was the same when I got my lips done too. And you're like, it's going to be so weird to see you with like your lips done.
Well, some people just get crazy with the lips.
Yeah.
Thank God you're like.
Thank God the place that I go, they just like do it so
enhance
naturally.
Your like normal lips. Like you would look so crazy with like big old lips.
Because I just have such a small mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what my dad would always say. They're like, you just have a really small mouth. And he's like, she does not have a small mouth. She has a loud mouth.
Like that you do.
That I do. I was reading that about 8s. I'm like, when we were talking about that, like how 8s are just loud. And I'm like,
she is loud.
People will just say, shh. And I'm like, oh, I didn't
Even
know
when
I was
she
being
comes
loud.
over to my house, Hal will like come out of her room and be like, I can't sleep because Court's so loud.
Court's so loud. And I don't even try. It's just like my voice carries or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just loud.
It's just loud.
There's just those people.
I know. And it's me. What is the dumbest thing y'all got ever mad at each other for? Oh my God. I have a good story. What did you think? Did you think of one?
I thought of one.
Okay, the one that I'm thinking is the Twizzlers.
Oh my God. Okay, mine's a different one.
Okay. We were babysitting and I randomly, don't even ask why, but like, I swear we were at the sink or something and we had Twizzlers, like just the regular Twizzlers.
The licorice, yep.
And I just like snapped her arm with it.
Like,
and it's like hard. It's like a hard piece
left a welt.
It did. And she was like, ow! And then she did it right back to me. And then I was like, ow!
And then we were mad at each other.
Well,
because Court's like, I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like thinking it would hurt. And I was like, yeah, well, it did. So I did it back.
I showed you how much it hurt. It was like surprised me. It's one of those things that you do as a kid that you're like, why did you do that? And you're like, I don't know. I don't know. Stupid. And then we got mad at each other for it.
Intrusive thoughts won there.
Yes, sure did.
I was thinking, do you remember at camp? So we used to go to camp every summer.
Yep.
And like one of my friends had come along and we had 3 beds.
Oh, yes.
And Court, so we had the bunk beds and Court had like the single bed.
Uh-huh.
And she was getting annoyed that everyone was putting their stuff on her bed.
Yeah.
But it was just harder to put it on a bunk bed.
Right.
And remember we got in this huge fight and you were like, it's my bed. And I was like, did you buy it? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Because I remember being like, everybody
started throwing everyone's shit everywhere.
I was started shoving it, like, get your shit off my bed. Like, did you buy it? And I was like, no, but it's mine. Yep.
Oh my God. It was so stupid. And I feel like
stupid.
I can't remember. We didn't like talk for like an hour or something. And then I was like, wow, it was really stupid.
Well, whatever. It said, what is the longest you've gone without talking? And we shared this on the last podcast, but it was like a week because we don't really go like, and that was when we were in high school. So like now being adults, it's like, we'll just, hey, I'm annoyed, whatever. And it's like, we talk about it and it's over.
Yeah, it's maybe like a day or
yeah.
But like we're also those people that like if we feel like the energy's off, we're like, hey, are you mad at me?
Are you mad?
And be like, no. Like, okay, I'm just checking.
just checking in. I am very easy to read when it comes to if I'm like annoyed or mad.
Yeah.
And so
you can feel it even through text messages.
Yeah.
Like you're like, Court's mad about something.
Yeah. And it doesn't even necessarily Ethan says this too. Like he'll be like, are you mad at me? And I'm like, no, I'm just like, I could be annoyed about a separate situation and I'm just annoyed about it. And I'm not annoyed at anyone.
You kind of just ice everybody out and it feels like you're like, okay.
And I'm like, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do. It's like a work thing and I'm annoyed and I'm like.
Well, even like when Nevaeh's stuff was all happening, I remember being like, are you mad? And you're like, I'm literally just like processing.
It's like I didn't
And like you
know.
kind of like cocooned a little bit.
I know.
And it was like.
You know what's funny is me and Ethan were talking about this in our last podcast that we just had, but I was reading in my book, my devotional for 8s, and it said some 8s in stress go to a 5 and 5s, they hide and they literally, and that's exactly what I do. I like go in my room and I like don't even want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, you totally do that.
And for me, like the best thing is like people just doing something or like showing up. Because if you were to ask me, and I kind of talked about this, but if you were to ask me like, hey, do you want me to bring coffee? I'd be like, no. But if you're like, I have coffee, I'm coming, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like I literally just like, it's like I go in a corner by myself is what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it's just like my stress. I don't know, like what I do in stress.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you do in stress?
I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely like a stress cleaner.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I want to control the things around me.
Right.
And when I'm in a clean house, like I feel like, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like all of a sudden like running
doing
around,
all the stuff.
cleaning all the, like I was doing when Josh was gone for a couple months, I literally was like deep cleaning everything because I'm like, I'm stressed, I'm bored, I'm lonely.
Right. You're like, what else is there to do? I read so many books and saw all the shows.
And I can like too, I feel like just be like, I want to go in my room and like nobody talk to me or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like that's what I'm like. I'm like, and then Ethan gets like all worried. I'm like, why are you worried? Like, he's like, are you okay?
I just feel like it's so opposite of like your normal.
Yeah, I suppose.
It really is. So it's like, oh my gosh. When you like get quiet, it's like, what's happening?
Yeah. And it's like I think of all this stuff in my head. And like part of me is like, I'm such a big, like, I do a lot of like thinking when that stuff is happening. And then it's like, if I say it out loud, does it make it true? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like thinking, well, what if this happens with Nevaeh and then it's in my head. And I always feel better when I talk, but it takes me a little bit to get there to be like, okay, let's talk about it.
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
You used to like harbor things for like months.
Long time.
And then they would like all
blow
come out
up.
at like what, like she'd be mad about something completely unrelated. And then it'd be like, well, yeah, well then you did this and you did this. And I'm like, whoa, that was 2 months ago.
That was months ago.
Why didn't you tell me?
I know. It's like part of me, and this is a big thing my dad does too, is like he'll do that, like where it'll be like, he says nothing for a long time and then it blows up and then saying like all this stuff that I'm like, what? But part of me is like thinks that if I just like hold it in, I'll forget about it, but I never do.
Yeah, that's just not your personality.
It's not.
I feel like I can do that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, it's not even worth it. Like I know that it wasn't intentional. I'm just going to let it go.
Right.
But I feel like you have to talk things through.
I do. And then it's like, then I always feel better and I'm over it. But it's like, but then that's what I think in my head. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Don't make it a big deal.
Clearly,
and then it
it's
turns into a big deal.
I know. Then it turns into a big deal.
Yep.
So that's really weird, but whatever. How do you cheer each other up on a tough day? And I thought about this because I read it yesterday and I was like, sometimes we're like, we don't want to be cheered up.
Yeah.
And I feel like a good best friend can like tell, like, do you just want to be here so I can bitch?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to cheer you up? And most of the time I don't need you to be like, well, and you're like, no, this fucking sucks. I get it.
Yeah, we're definitely, I think, those people who are like, there doesn't need to be a silver lining to everything. Let me sit in my feelings for a second.
I feel like it's a really healthy way to deal with it because like I am naturally very positive. Like I'm not an optimist. Rachel's different. Like she thinks like, what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? And I'm always like, how do you even
I'm like a worst case scenario person.
Yeah.
Because I want to be prepared.
This is a 6 talking.
Yeah. If it happens.
Yes. It's like,
and I also just feel like, I don't know. I've been bit in the ass a couple times. So I'm like,
I need to be prepared.
I'd rather be prepared for the worst than expect the best.
Right. And I always like, I don't even think that.
But I'm not like a negative one of those like, you just
have different you have a different thought process.
Yeah.
Like, if it says it's going to she'll be like, it says it's supposed to rain on Saturday. I'm like, oh, it probably won't.
But it's also just like having anxiety too. Like I just like, it snowballs in my brain. And then Court's like, whoa.
Yeah. Where did that come from? How do you even think that
She talks me off the ledge sometimes.
Yeah. But it's like I am a naturally like positive person, but if I'm like in a mood or in a funk about something, I don't want somebody to try to cheer me up. I just want somebody to be like, I get it.
Yeah, like let's just talk it out and
we'll figure it out.
Sometimes you just need to like get it off your chest.
Sometimes you just need to vent. And like there's nothing better than just being like, I just got to vent.
But I feel like when we are just naturally hanging out together, even if we're in crap moods, like we always end up laughing about something.
Yeah.
And then by the end when we leave, it's like, I feel a little better.
And we can just like hang out and be like watching TV and on our phones and not really even talk. And it's like,
yeah,
totally fine.
And we're honestly not the best at being vulnerable.
No.
People would probably think it's really weird. You guys, we don't hug each other.
No. No, we don't.
We're not like, bye, love you.
No.
But I think we just like obviously know that we do.
Right.
But
we're not have to say it.
Yeah. Like Josh and Ethan are really more emotional than we are.
They are. They're definitely more like sappy, like
sensitive.
Yeah. They like, they do romantic things and we're both like, thanks. I get well, you guys know I'm an 8 too. So I like emotions for me are very hard.
Yeah.
And happy emotion is fine. When people are crying, I don't know what to do.
I feel like, you and I both are like, even with each other.
We both are like, what do you want me to do? Like, let me do something for you. Because that's the only way I feel like I can help. Because like, I don't want to like, if I give you a hug, it's always a weird, awkward hug. Because I'm like, if somebody's crying, I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember too, Josh was like deployed at the time. And I don't know, someone must have said something to you like, how's Rachel? And you were like, I think she's fine.
Yeah.
And then you like came over and you were like, you're fine, right? And I was like, I mean, yeah, like I'm not like not fine.
Well, I feel like we're both like when we're going through a stressful situation, it's not like we want to sit and talk about it all the time to be like, if you were to be like, so how are you? I'd be like, why are you asking? That's weird.
You know how I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
talk
doing
so
good.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it's like we don't sit.
Or we just try to get each other's minds off of it. So like when Nevaeh was having brain surgery and her stroke and like all this stuff, like
we didn't talk about it.
Because I feel like I was on the verge of crying all the time.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to do that all the time.
Yep.
And so it's like, if I don't talk about it, like let me think of something else. So we'd totally talk about different stuff.
Well, it's hard because like people have such good intentions by asking about it.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking that too when Josh was deploying. It was like everybody wanted to ask me about it.
And they
How
do this-
are you? What can I do?
How are you doing? And you're like,
I
do you want me to be honest? Because it's like Tom Segura. The only acceptable answers is fine.
yeah, I'm
And
good.
Good. Nobody wants to hear you. But like people are asking because they care, and I get that. But I remember we were at a basketball game and somebody asked how I was, and I started crying, and I was like, because I just like was just on the verge.
Yeah, it's like you just like feel it in your
Yeah.
whole body.
How are you? I'm like, here it comes.
That's just like when I'm crying, I'm like, don't hug me because it makes it worse.
I know.
Like people, when they hug you, you're like, "Ah."
and then there's like, or people will share their story, like my son had, and I
Yeah.
was like, and he's totally fine, and I'm like, I know, but like, what if she's not? You know, it's like I just didn't want to talk about it. So I feel like we don't really cheer each other up.
really, I think we naturally do. We don't
Yeah.
have to do anything specific
No,
to be like, you're in a bad mood. Like, I'll just come over and be like,
Let me
hey,
bring you
I'll
some
bring you
ice cream.
Yeah, I'm literally like, I'm gonna get DQ. Let's
Yeah.
just watch our shows and
I
hang
love-
out.
if it's just like we're gonna watch Real Housewives or like Vanderpump Rules and we're talking about it, it's like sometimes you just need a distraction.
Yes.
And when Josh was deployed, I remember just being like, okay, Ethan, and Ethan and I talked about this in our podcast. It's coming. But we're like, when you have a friend that's going through something hard, it's like when you're like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You're never going to say, hey, can you take my kids? Hey, can you clean my house? Can you do my laundry? So having a friend being like, Ethan's taking the kids, we're going out. You're like, okay.
Yep.
But if I asked you, you'd be like, no.
It's
It's like you don't
fine.
want to inconvenience anybody.
I think that's very normal that it's like really hard to ask for help. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people find it very hard.
it is. Well, it is
because
hard.
it's like you're literally putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable. Like,
right.
and like, what if they say no? And then you are gonna feel. You know what I mean?
I know. Even if it's the only person I feel comfortable doing that with is like my mom.
yeah.
Like, I don't even want to be like, hey, can you let the dogs out? Unless I'm like, no, I like really, it's like, it takes a lot for me to ask somebody for help because I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you have somebody going through a really hard time, I just highly recommend just doing instead of asking,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you they're going to be like, I'm fine.
Right.
Instead of being like, no, I need you to really come clean my house and do my laundry or like take my kids for a second. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my advice.
I agree.
Going through all this stuff and like you going through deployment and that kind of stuff, it was like so much easier to just be like, we're doing it. And you're like, okay.
Yes.
Okay. What's one of your favorite trips together?
We've had a few.
Yes, we have. I
It's
always
hard
feel
to
like
pick.
Nashville is like a classic for me. The
Yeah.
first time
We had so much fun on your 30th birthday.
Yeah. That was like the first time we went to Nashville and it was just a blast. It was just three of us.
Yeah, it was just a girls' trip.
Yeah. Which I think girls' trips are so fun. We don't do near enough
I know.
girl trips, but it was a blast. And we love country music and we love like just drinking and hanging out. So
We've gone to Destin together. That was
Yep.
super fun. We had the boys.
we had the boys. That was really fun too. Yeah. It was like a week and it's like, it was more of a relaxing trip, but
Yeah. It's like we
we
travel so well together.
yeah,
Like
it's very easy.
Yeah.
Well,
Even with the guys, they're like super similar.
Yeah.
People ask all the time, like, are Josh and Ethan like close? And they definitely are.
Yeah. I feel like it took them a bit to get close.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it was more, they really started getting close. When do you feel like?
I feel like maybe after we moved to closer to you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they would always, obviously, we're super good with hanging out. But like when Josh and I were in college, like, honestly, we didn't see you guys very much.
It
in
was more
person.
me because,
Yeah. You would come up while
Yeah.
Ethan watched the kids.
right.
So I feel like once we got like married and like moved closer and like graduated.
Hung out more,
Yeah.
like the four of us. But Ethan and Josh are like the easiest people to get along with, really.
Yeah.
And Ethan just like loves Josh's smart ass behavior.
Austin too. Like every
I
time
know,
Austin just
I
is
know.
like snickering away at Josh just says some like off the wall things.
Off the wall. He and they're always just like so random that you're like, what?
Yeah, he is
something else.
he's a funny guy.
He sure is. And Ethan loves it. You always, I said this, in every friend group, you need a 7. Somebody who's just like the life of the party. That's Josh.
Yeah.
Just a 7. What is something embarrassing Court has done growing up? I have so many embarrassing moments.
I feel like we've
my
both
God.
been there for a lot of embarrassing
Yeah.
moments. I'm trying to think, like growing up.
Oh, the camp one for sure.
Oh yeah.
That one I still to this day get like embarrassed about because
Oh
it was
my
like
gosh.
the whole camp
It was like hundreds and hundreds. Like
of teenagers.
yeah,
Like we're
literally
talking
our
teenagers.
peers.
Yeah. We did this skit and all
Uh-huh.
like you guys, I can remember the words.
I can remember my part too.
Mine was I shop, buy clothes. All you see is up my nose.
Mine was see me, notice me. Don't you want to know me? This was like a Christian camp, so it was like some
Yes.
skit about like
Stereotypes,
yeah.
maybe, I think.
pretty much.
Yeah. And I was like, Rachel was all nervous. And I was like, I'm not even worried about it.
I've
because
done plays.
I've done plays before. Like I just was like so. And then it was my turn, and I literally was like,
froze.
I buy clothes, I shop, and then I was like, oh my God, I forgot it.
And my sister was next to her, like literally repeating
The exact
shop,
words.
buy clothes.
And then I goes, I buy clothes, I shop. It felt like literally forever that I couldn't come up with the words. And there was this boy that I had a crush on, and he was like in the front row. And I remember being like,
seeing him like,
oh my God. And then I left and I was like beat red.
Yeah, you like stormed out a side door.
Yeah, I did. And I was very embarrassed and I wanted to die. Also at camp one time, I remember when you got letters from your parents, you had to do something in front of the camp to
Yep,
like
yep.
get them. I did a round off back handspring and my foot slipped in the mud and on my round off. So my back handspring was all messed up and I was very embarrassed. I've done a lot of like, I feel like I just do weird stuff that you're like, and then I get embarrassed.
I do weird stuff.
Like it's like I don't even, and then I always say like I'm always like, oh no, it's not a big deal, but then I'm like, no, that was embarrassing. Might be kind of weird, but are you guys open about y'all sex life? It says my bestie is dating my brother's BFF, and now I feel like we can't talk to each other about our sex lives, and it sucks. Yes, we are. We talk about everything.
we really do.
Yeah.
Like good, bad, ugly, embarrassing.
All of it. Like everything.
We really do. And our husbands know it.
Yeah. They talk about it in front of us now because like at this point it's like,
I feel like at first it was like maybe a little weird for them, but like
Yeah.
once they like got to know our friendship and each other, it's like we're all like,
very open.
Yep.
It's like we'll all have drinks and we'll be talking and I'm like, Ethan, shut up.
like we're in public.
You're loud. He's like, even last night I was like, stop talking about this story right now. Like we're in public.
Yep.
But it's like, I feel this might just be me, but like when you're really comfortable with somebody, it makes other people comfortable about like nothing is really off topic with
Yeah.
us. So like Ethan and Josh say like the weirdest stuff, like, and we are like, oh
It's-
yeah, well, that
It's
happened to me.
true.
one
Like
time.
I literally say that all the time, even about Josh. Like there's nothing that I could do that I would be embarrassed
Right.
with him.
No.
Like some people are like, I don't fart in front of my husband. I'm like, I don't know that life. Like I could literally shart and I'd be like, Josh, we gotta go. I sharted.
Oh, that's one of my, I've done that.
you have.
And I'll tell, it's not like one time I was sitting here watching a show and I farted and I sharted and I had my shorts in the
Weren't you kind of sick?
Yeah.
too?
I was, and it literally nobody was home. So it's like I didn't actually have to tell
Yeah.
anyone, but I told everyone. It's like I was literally, and I took my shorts and put them in the sink, and Ethan was like, "What happened?" I was like, "Well, actually,
I pooped my
I
pants.
literally pooped my pants. It was embarrassing because it was like freaking water." So
Yeah, Josh told me once when he did it at work. He's like, yeah, so today. Like,
yeah.
didn't have to tell me, but like, there's just like nothing. I just feel like,
Well, my door is open when I'm like going to the bathroom, and like Ethan will talk to me while I'm just pooping, and sometimes I'll be like, okay, well I'm gonna wipe now, so you Do you want
Like, do we draw the line there or?
like, does it matter? I don't know.
But yeah, I just feel like you said, if you're truly comfortable, like,
Yeah.
I mean, what?
It makes other people feel comfortable then because you're just like,
I just feel like I'm like,
somebody could tell me literally anything, and I honestly feel like I'm like, oh, like I don't care. I'm not like judgmental.
or I've been
so
like, oh yeah, I've done that too.
happened to me.
Yep.
When I do makeup, I almost feel like hairstylists are like
Like
your
a
therapist.
Yeah, people tell you some like off the wall things for not really
They-
actually knowing
They
you.
do, and I'm like, really? And I'll just listen, and it's some crazy story, and I love it. I like listening. to
Tell
other
me all
people's
the
stories. Like,
things.
tell me about it. What did Rachel do before she worked for you?
So I went to school to be a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
graduated and all that. Looked for a job. It just was like at a time where like everybody was looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And then I ended up like having Jada, and it was cheaper to just stay home with her than it was to be on like a first year teacher salary.
And
So
pay daycare.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I was just like a stay-at-home mom, and then it was like as time progressed, we had Hal, and then Josh deployed. So yeah, and then Court
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, I need help."
Yeah. You actually were like, do you want me to help you?
Yeah, she was kind of. You're just so scatterbrained. I feel like
I
it
know.
stressed me out. Like I was like, "Court, I feel like
I
you
know.
could maybe
But
hire
it's
somebody."
it's like I'm such a control freak too. Like, especially because I'm like, I'm gonna have to tell you all this stuff to do. Like, are you gonna? But I mean, it was pretty easy. Oh, do people ever think you're sisters? My bestie and I of 30 years counting get asked that.
oh my gosh,
We have gotten asked
all
that
the time.
a lot.
We used to pretend we were twins when we were kids because we
yeah.
both had like curly hair and our buns on the top of
Yep.
our head, and we just like loved it. But even now, people say that.
Yeah. It's like, are you cousins or something?
Yeah, like, oh, are you guys related somehow?
Yeah. We're like, no, we're not. We're not related. But I have one sister, like you guys know. Rachel has two and two brothers. And yeah, I feel like me and my sister, I don't think look alike.
You definitely both have like a different look.
Yeah.
It's like there's certain things I could see, but I know you. But if I saw
Yeah.
you standing next to each other,
Like you wouldn't be like, oh, that's her sister.
right?
You know, I don't know. Do you guys have boundaries? We don't have any.
I don't think we have any with each other.
No, then not at all.
No.
When I was talking to my sister, we were talking about, because I was like wondering about 8s and 6s and like boundaries.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what are 8's boundaries? Because I feel like as a person, I have good boundaries. Like I'm like, nope, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'll like tell you. But she said 8's pushes boundaries with other people. I was like, oh, I can
Ah.
see that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess I have boundaries, but I'm like, oh, you don't want to tell me?
I totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't know. So, but no, we don't like, there's nothing we don't talk about
There's
really
like
at the end
boundaries
of the
I
day.
have with other people, but with
Yeah.
you, I just feel like nothing's off limits with us. But we
No.
also, I feel like, know each other's boundaries.
Yeah, well,
Without really needing, just from knowing
Without
each other
sa-
for so long.
yeah. I feel like when you know each other for so long, you are like gonna know. Like sometimes I know, like somebody will say something and I'm like, oh,
Right.
she's gonna be mad.
Yep.
And then we
I do
immediately
that
go to the
too.
bathroom and I'm like, are you mad?
Yeah.
You're like, yes.
That happens all the time.
All
I'm
the
like,
time.
oh my God, that person's going to regret saying that. Court's fucking pissed.
I know. Yes. Like it literally with other people, but we don't, it's like we've known each other for so long now that it's like,
We know
we hardly get pissed at each other because it's like we really know.
to
and
avoid
if we do get
or.
mad, honestly, it's drinking is involved.
Yeah. Most
we
of
get
our
mad.
adult fights
Yeah.
have to do with just us being a little too
Yeah, like
tipsy.
mouthy when we're drinking.
Yeah.
And we're like,
We
Yeah.
just like both get snappy with each other.
and then we wake up the next day like,
Well, that was stupid.
so that was dumb.
Like, are we good?
yeah. Like, and we're like, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
So you want to hang out today? But yeah. How do you guys feel about aging? Positive, negative?
I feel like you're only as old as you feel. And I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes I forget we're like in our mid 30s.
I know.
Like, I'm
Ethan's
like,
gonna be 40
Hear
next
me like,
year.
yeah, I graduated high school like 10 years ago. Pfft, yeah, no, I didn't.
yeah.
Like,
It's like the older you get, I was like, oh, when people are like, yeah, I'm 26, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like 10 years older than you?
I know.
Weird.
But I'm like, but I also feel like I could be your friend.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I feel like. Who's more blunt?
Court for sure.
Definitely. Rachel, she's more like Ethan, as in like, sometimes I feel like I don't think fully before I say something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, probably should have paused for a second before I say something.
Yeah.
Rachel definitely thinks a lot more, processes before she says stuff. Like Ethan does that too. And I'm like, I'll just be like, brr. But if you are mad, you will say something.
I feel like I can be very blunt with the people that I'm comfortable with and that I care about. Like I have no problem being that person in my family, or like if you come for people that I care about, like I will be on you.
Right.
But like I said, like I'm also the person who gets the wrong order, and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah,
like,
we'll go to Starbucks.
It comes out, and it just depends on the situation, because I can absolutely like throw down if I need to, but
yeah,
you're just like that all the time.
All the time. Yeah. I have no problem telling my feelings. I'm like, nope, I don't like that. Or if like coffee, she'll just like complain about her coffee, but she won't tell the person that she made it wrong.
Nope.
And I'm like, do you want me to get it? Like, I'll just get it for you.
I don't know why it's like
you feel bad almost. So you're like, I don't want them to remake it. It's
yeah.
fine.
And
I'll
I'm like,
suck it
I
up.
don't want them to think I'm some Karen or something, you know? Like, I'm just like, it's fine.
I know. But I'm like, no, I don't want to sit and drink this whole coffee for $7 and hate the whole thing. I hate that. It's like the worst.
I know.
Does Rachel have tattoos?
I do. Just 2.
Just 2.
I have a wrist one with my girls' birthdays, and then the matching one we got on my foot.
Yeah. The one that she has on her foot, I have on my ribs. And when we got that one, I remember, oh my God, it just hurts so bad. And she was like,
I was looking to Court to be like, it's fine, right?
yeah. And I was like, I did it. I just was like,
she was. I was like,
you would have never guessed.
Like,
it was
does it hurt?
Most...
She was like, yeah, a little bit.
I was looking at a toolbox. I literally remember exactly what I was looking at. It was like one of those red ones. I feel like Josh has one. It's like red.
Old school?
Yeah, and it's like one of his newer ones he got, like the big red toolbox one. It has slides. It comes out.
His is black, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was just staring at it because I was like, I can't show her that it's painful, because I felt like I couldn't breathe because it was on my ribs.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want him to like mess up. But it was one of my most painful tattoos for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I even remember too, when I went, the guy was like, oh, this is your first tattoo and you're doing it on your foot? Like, you're brave. And I was like, oh.
That was my first tattoo too.
I mean, it hurts.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like we both have a pretty high pain tolerance.
Yeah.
So.
Rachel got halfway through and she's like, it looks at me. Is he almost done?
Well, because it was like it was making
halfway
he
done.
went like deep.
Yeah.
Like it went, and I was like, oh my gosh.
He did that on my arm, and then that's when I switched tattoo guys, because it went too deep that it like the ink bled.
Yes.
And you don't love that. And I'm like, okay, we're finding a new guy.
Yep.
Which I love my guy that I have now. So many Austins in my life. Rachel will be like, which Austin are you talking about?
Seriously.
Like Austin, my kid, Austin, my tattoo guy, and then Austin, who I work with like for my management.
Yeah, I'm always
company.
like, what Austin?
I'm like, Austin was talking to me today, and she'll be like, which one? I'm like, mine.
Yeah.
Which is Austin. So
I do want more tattoos though, but
yeah,
I'm just very indecisive.
And you're like,
honestly,
where? Well, you kind of want one on your side, don't you? Like your
and my
side of your
sister
wrist.
got like a sister one, and we all just have to go eventually and get it.
What does that one say?
It's just 3 hearts, but it's like
Oh.
the hearts filled in like the order of our.
So would yours be on this side, like closer to your wrist, your filled in heart?
So it would be
'Cause
the
you'd
bottom
be
one. So there's
bottom,
3.
yeah.
So I'm the last. So I would be the bottom.
Got it. Do you guys ever get annoyed with each other? Of course we do.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like if you hang out with somebody for a really long time, like you're bound to get annoyed with them. But it's like very rare that I'm like, you're annoying me right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who says sorry first when feelings have been hurt? Who's the peacemaker?
Me.
Yeah.
I feel like I usually reach out first.
Yeah. We're both stubborn,
Yeah.
but I definitely am more stubborn, maybe.
I also, it depends on who's mad at who.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Like if Court's mad at me, I feel like I'm the first to be like, okay, like we have to talk this out. 'Cause,
Right.
Like it literally pains me when we're fighting. Like I obsess about it.
Yeah.
Like it's all I can think about. because I just want to make it right.
Right. I feel like we obviously both care so much that it's like, if we're not talking, it's like Ethan and Josh probably, I know they hate when we fight.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's all we talk about.
Yeah. But I also feel like it takes her, like, when she's mad, she needs a minute.
I do. Rachel's learned that. Ethan hasn't learned that to this day.
And I'm like that too. Like with Josh, I'm like, you need to walk away for a second because like I'm going to say something that's going to hurt your feelings otherwise because I'm just too mad right now.
Yeah. It's like we both get initially so defensive, but we both get really defensive. We take some time and then we both are very good at seeing each other's side of the fight.
Yep.
Which I feel like it's very important when you're just like fighting with really literally anyone is being able to see their side of it. Like nothing's more
even like not even when
frustrating.
you're fighting, but like in everything in life. Like just put yourself in their shoes for like a second and you're like, it just puts things into perspective.
Right. I feel like for me personally, there's nothing more frustrating when I feel like I'm trying to tell somebody, and I've had this happen before and you know it, where I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not talking about Rachel. I'm talking about different friendships and stuff like that. But like when you're literally like, I'm not trying to like make this a big deal, but I just feel like you're not understanding. So it's like you feel like you have to repeat it. They keep making
excuses and excuses. And you're like, how are you not understanding where I'm coming from?
Yeah, like seeing my side at all.
Right. I feel like everyone just wants to feel validated in their feelings.
And heard, where you're going, I hear you. I understand. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And
but this is how I was feeling. And then like, that's what I was thinking. It's like always ends up being a miscommunication most times.
It's a misunderstanding of where like, you're thinking one thing, I'm thinking another thing. So like if we're fighting, we've had this fight one time and it was like, we were both drinking. Rachel was trying to de-escalate the situation. De-escalate?
Yep.
Did I say that weird?
You kind of like, I don't know, did like a little stutter there.
De-escalate the situation. And I was like, I read her as trying to like
brush it off,
like invalidate the feelings that were happening at that moment.
Where I was like, knew if Courtney was going to get mad that she was going to stay mad. So I was like,
let's not.
Like, it's not the time or place. Like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Because I just know you.
Yeah.
And like once Courtney's mad,
was like I want to talk about this and then I'll get over it. Because I can do that too, where I can be mad, but if I talk about it, I'll be over it. But yeah. Anyways, it's most of the time it's a misunderstanding. And then when we talk about it, we're like, okay, I get where you're coming from. I understand.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I get why you whatever.
Thought that that's what I was trying to do, but like it's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time. What is one thing that people misunderstand about Courtney?
Oh my gosh.
That all I talk about is t-shirts. Like that's all I talk about all the time.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things based off of just I feel like people think you're very vain, maybe, or like
obsessed with myself,
or like a narcissist.
Yeah.
Whoever messaged that, like she's such a narcissist.
Yeah, I did get that.
Yeah, which they thought they were messaging their friend, but it was to you.
To me. Mm-hmm.
And
you guys, you got to be careful when you're talking shit about somebody.
Yeah.
Don't accidentally send it to the person you're talking shit about.
Yes. And I just feel like that's not who she is at all. You've just always, even as a kid, had this confidence about you.
Yeah.
And you've just been so sure of who you are. And it just comes across like you're just like so unapologetically you.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like just because you're into makeup and like clothes and all the things, I don't feel like that makes you this like vain person.
Yeah, I feel like there's a really big misunderstanding that I'm like, that's literally
or
all
that you're
I
like
talk about.
Driven by money and like all this stuff. But like, if you guys only knew how giving, like you guys are, like literally.
I don't like to talk about it.
Well, because she's like, I don't like to brag about, like, she doesn't want the recognition for it. But, like, she's done so much for me and Josh and, like, all sort, like, just.
Yeah.
Very giving.
Yeah.
I could go on and on about, I don't need to be, like, list all the things. But, like, just trust me when I say.
Yeah. I do think that, like, people get such a small snippet that they don't, like, get a whole view of like Ethan.
It's a highlight
and
reel of your. That's why
Yeah.
this podcast is great, because we can kind of get to the nitty gritty of
I
like
know.
who you are and like what's gone on in our lives
Right.
and all the things.
Which I love. I love being able to be like, this is what we're talking about. I like talking through things with people. And like, you know, I just feel like everyone on Instagram is so much deeper than what they're showing. And
Of
I
course.
can see how it comes off as like,
I have this
"Oh,
perfect life.
here's my shoes.
But nobody wants to come on and see
Yeah.
someone being all negative and complaining about things.
Right. Because then people are going, well, you're just really negative.
And you're really ungrateful for what you have and
Yeah.
all the things. But we all struggle behind the scenes.
Yeah. Which I feel like I'm pretty good about like sharing like, oh, I'm not feeling, you know, I don't
Yeah.
like showing all the perfect things. And Ethan and I were talking about this in therapy yesterday. And like he likes everything to be perfect and he doesn't like showing a messy house. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why does it matter? Because like I don't care, but that is just part of me. And
Right. But it just
it's-
makes you relatable too.
yeah, it's always been like that where I'm like,
Like
I
your
don't care
house
what
is
people
very
think.
much lived in and
Yeah.
you have 3 kids and
Even if
3
Ethan-
dogs.
even Ethan can clean all day, but there's still my makeup room. That is
Your bedroom usually
my
is.
bedroom,
Yeah.
all the things. But yeah, I wish there was so much more. Sometimes I wish I could like explain to people. Like somebody made a comment the other day that like, would you really be talking about this if you weren't working with this company? And I was like, yes, because there is, and Rachel knows this, there is so many companies and I take it so seriously. I feel like I'm not somebody that just like takes something because they're getting paid.
Right.
I am like,
I mean,
If
yeah,
I'm
she's
not
turned
using
down
it
offers where it was
all
like
the
a decent
time.
chunk of money, but she's like, it's weird. I don't like it. It weirds me out, so I don't want to like recommend it and
Right.
lie.
I would never. I can't. I'm not a good liar. Like where I'm like, if I'm promoting something and I don't like it, I'm like, I feel weird.
Like you have to be excited about it to want to work with them.
yeah. And I feel like that is only doing justice to the company as well.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not a good fit, I'm not going to sell what I think because people are going to know like, does Court really use that?
Well, yeah.
You
Like,
know?
it's like these celebrities like, I use L'Oreal. I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
You do not
I
use
that.
Suave or
No.
L'Oreal. Like,
I
I'm
love
sorry.
this Dial body wash, which by the way, I use because
I love Dial too. The blue one.
yes,
Oh, it smells so good.
it's so fresh. But it's like one of my favorites. And I'm like, people probably think I'm lying, and I don't work with Dial, but like, you know,
It's a great smell.
but yeah, I just feel like as a person, if I'm recommending something, you damn well know I'm using it because I put so much thought into it
Yeah.
that it's like, nope. And there's a lot of offers that I've gotten like offered, but I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I would never use this. I would never eat it. I would never, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just part of it. But and it's like, I want to defend myself sometimes. And it's
I
like, I don't
know.
think they care. If I'm like, no, I'm such a like, I feel so strongly about my job. Like, it's like, I take
Yeah.
it so seriously. And I take what like, you know, my followers would buy.
Right.
And you guys are my friends too. So I'm like, if I wouldn't recommend it to Rachel, I'm not recommending it to people that follow me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, anyways, what about one of your embarrassing moments?
Oh man.
Do
Like
you know the one I can think of is
the
like
McDonald's.
Yeah,
I knew it.
yeah.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And my dad in the podcast like saying how I laugh at people when they do.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I just laughed at her.
Oh my god.
She was so. She's like, I just remember you.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
help me.
So in my town, we could bike uptown and we would go to like McDonald's or we'd go to like
Dairy
the
Queen,
drugstore and
Yeah.
get candy.
Yep.
And because Court lived out in the country, so she didn't have that. So we would always like bike uptown.
Oh, that was my favorite.
So we went to McDonald's and they, for some weird reason, had this Lego table.
Yeah.
And it was like tall Lego
It's
table.
like a kid sat there and like made a
Built
whole tower.
a tower. And it was
all the Legos almost.
so tall. And they were like those big plastic Legos, not like little ones.
Yes.
The big ones.
The bigger ones. Yep.
And like I hip checked that thing and the tower fell over. And you guys, it was like ding, 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 ding. Like,
It was so loud.
those plastic things falling from a high height and they're bouncing everywhere
On
around
the
this
tile.
Yes.
Yeah.
there was like what, 60 pieces probably everywhere.
Minimum.
And I'm scrambling. And there's a gas station connected to this. Remember like the gas station workers like
yeah. They like came to check like what's happening over there?
Going on over there because it was so loud.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to swoop up and they're everywhere. They're scattered and Court's literally rolling on the ground laughing.
I was.
And I'm looking at her like, it's not funny. Help me. I was like probably bright red.
She was. She literally did say to help me.
I was pissed. Like, Court, get it together and help me. They're everywhere. I'm trying to like get these Legos back on this table. I was mortified.
I was crying just thinking about it makes me just fucking laugh because it's so typical because it's like first I feel like our especially your hip, like spatial awareness. We're not great at it.
No, I have a giant bruise on my hip as we speak. Josh is like, what happened? I'm like, I feel like I hip checked something. I don't know. I always have bruises.
Always. You wake up and you're like, what the frick happened to this?
Who knows? I
don't even know. How to make a friendship last into adulthood, or what do you admire the most about one another? The how to make a friendship last into adulthood, I feel like it depends on like your friendship, I guess, but honestly, honesty in being like upfront with your feelings and stuff is very important. And like I will admit I am not good at that, but I've worked on it and gotten better.
Oh yeah.
At being like, I was annoyed you said that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I also feel like too, like you make time for what you want to make time for. And we've always prioritized our friendship. Like people always are like, I'm so envious of how often you guys hang out, or like, I don't have time. And I'm like, we make time.
We do. Yeah. Even if it's like will be such a random evening. And luckily we're both pretty much like night owls. Even though the older we get, we're going to sleep earlier, but like the kids will be gone and we'll just be like, let's go to a movie, and we will go do that and have dinner and whatever.
Yeah, but like even
not like work stuff. It's like important to still like, oh, let's just like hang out and like.
Yeah, I like have to do it for my mental health, honestly.
For sure.
And like it would have been so easy for us to just like grow apart when you were a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, she had a kid at 20.
Yeah.
And I was 19 and at college. Like we were in such different stages of our lives.
Super.
And like,
do you remember that fight of like, I had a shower or something and you had your senior year like party and like you were maybe not going to come, and I was like, I'm only getting married once. And you're like, I'm only graduating once.
Yeah.
But like, it's so different because I mean, I graduated only a year before you, but like my life was so different.
Yeah. And your wedding was over it was like all the seniors went camping.
Yeah.
And it was your wedding.
Right.
And obviously I went to her wedding. I wasn't going to miss it. But like, we just were in like such different stages, and it would have been so easy for us to just like,
there was
right off the friendship. But
yeah.
Yeah. And there was times we didn't talk for probably like
it's not like we text every day back then. It was like, I mean, I feel like it would be like months at a time.
But we also always like, it was like, I always made sure to like comment on your face, because Facebook was really big back then. And like I always just made sure to be present. Like I'm still here.
Right. Don't forget about me.
Yeah. Like text quick shoot a text.
Yeah.
Thinking of you. I miss you. Like that just like goes a long way, even,
It does. Even if you're like living far and you're just like, oh, hey, how, whatever.
Yeah.
How's
and then
it going?
Obviously we came back together, and now it's like.
And one of the questions was like, if somebody moves away, how long before you move too?
I literally tell Josh all the time, like, I'm not moving unless Court does.
Yeah. Well, I am not moving unless you move.
Well,
either.
Can we talk about, you literally told me you were moving to Florida, and like they were like, seriously.
We were gonna.
And I was like sick about it.
And that was, did you have, you didn't even have kids yet, did you? Because I don't even think Gray was born. It was like when Austin and Nevaeh were like little. That was during that whole time.
I know. Yeah. It was like, I was like, you're going to move?
Yeah. But Ethan and I were having marriage troubles too. And it was like, maybe if we move, it'll be better. But obviously,
I
that
remember
never
you
makes
saying
it
like,
better.
I want to move to paradise. Like, who couldn't be happy in paradise?
Yeah.
It was like you,
because I
thought
wasn't happy in Minnesota
Yeah.
and thinking like, well, it's Minnesota, obviously.
but it was like more to do with just like where you were in life and you wanted a
Yes.
quick fix.
which thank God we didn't, because if we did,
Oh,
we probably
you would have
be
had no
divorced.
support.
Yeah. It's like support during really hard times when you're going through like marriage struggles of like, we're on the verge of divorcing. So like, let's move. And then,
Yeah. Well,
which,
like
thank God we didn't. Like I said,
people probably don't even realize like how close it came.
yeah.
Like
Yeah. We talked about it. Like, it was like, right. I remember like,
she didn't even want to talk to me about it. And I
Right.
remember having to go, Court, like if you guys divorce, like I will still be your friend.
yeah. Well,
Because I'm close with Ethan too. So I was like, I love you both, but like I need you to hear me when I say
Yeah.
like I'll be here. And you were like, it was like I knew you like needed to hear that.
Yeah. Well, it's such a mind fuck when you grow up in a really conservative,
Yeah.
like church environment where you're not allowed to drink and you're not allowed to really get a divorce. And if you get a divorce, like it's a big deal.
Right.
And because like Ethan and I said this when we first did our podcast, but like when we started dating, I remember being like, if we break up, like, you know, like my mom loves
Friends
you.
are gonna have to
like,
pick a side.
I know. And we like basically grew up together. So that's like a huge
Yeah.
thing that would
It's
break
totally
apart.
different because we've just all known each other for so long.
Yeah. And so I remember being like, well, we have 2 kids, and I am like on the we were like this close to getting a divorce. And I just remember being like, well, is my friends going to still be my friends? Like I was, especially you, I'm like, I know you love Ethan. Everybody loves Ethan.
Yeah.
But like, you convinced me to talk to my mom because I felt like if I told my, like we've said a lot of times, Ethan and my mom have this like very close relationship too. And it's almost like you fail.
Well, I feel like you felt a lot of shame
Yeah.
and like
And I was like, if
you
we
were
divorce, it's
like scared to tell your best friend and your mom.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy, but I knew you hadn't
know.
told your mom and I was
No.
like, you have to. And I remember you being like, I feel so much better
yeah.
now that they like know.
Yes.
And you sat down with them and I feel like that's
Mhm.
when the tipping point kind of like they talked to you about their struggles
Right.
and like made it more relatable and then that's when
Right.
you and Ethan finally like went and got some counseling.
And then here we are now. You would have
Yes.
never guessed. But Rachel's been like through all of those phases. So she just definitely knows a lot of, you know, I mean, she knows everything. She
Yeah.
knows more than Ethan sometimes, you know? All that to say, the grass is not greener on the other side is you got to work through it. We work through
The
it.
grass is greener where you water it.
That's exactly right. I just
That
imagine
phrase
one of
that
those things.
everybody-
Like, we get it. We
Okay.
get it. I know it's greener where you water it. However, you can't always
Yeah.
think that because, you know, sometimes
I feel like everyone at one stage of their life goes through that
yeah.
with something.
And some people divorce and big deal. Like it didn't work for them. You know,
And
it
some
is.
people want to fight.
And
that's
no
great.
shame on
Will
anybody.
fight for their marriage.
Yeah.
Some people want to fight.
We want to fight. We want to fight. Anyways, okay. Hopefully this all makes sense. Like, good Lord, I don't even know where we got with this. But
Yeah, I feel like we could just go on and on, but
I know. 2 hours later.
we'll have to save some for the next podcast.
We'll save it for the next one. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time. We hope you enjoyed.
Bye.